everybody. So this is really exciting. We are here to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who. I'm new to the show, and this is my third episode that I've watched of Doctor Who. It's an episode called Smile, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it, and I'm joined by my friend Jonathan. You want to say hi?
Hello.
He is a Doctor Who expert, you'd say? Or pretty well.
Well, you might say that. I'm sure there are people who know more than I do, though.
Pretty knowledgeable. So I do have the chat room open, and so if you have comments and you want to opine, please put it in the chat room, and that will be great. So this episode is called Smile, and what was your overall sort of response to the episode? Do you like it, not like it? Where were you at on it?
I kind of felt somewhere in the middle. I didn't hate it. I don't hate very many episodes, but I can't say that I loved it. It kind of felt like they were recycling a lot of old ideas, like they kind of used some before. And I don't know, the look of the episode was amazing, but everything in it just seemed like it had been done before and better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't have that perspective because I haven't seen it, but it felt very derivative even just on other sites. It just felt very sci-fi derivative, not even just Doctor Who, because I don't know, but I don't know. I didn't respond that well to it, to be honest. I don't know. I responded negatively to it, and then I would hear other people's analysis, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that was good. And I guess maybe I was too hard on it, but my initial gut reaction was like, that was really stupid. Like, if I'm just honest, I was like, that was dumb. And I don't know, maybe part of it is just, like, I feel like focusing on things like emojis is a really kind of lazy way of kind of making something modern. Like, we're going to make it current. We're going to talk about emojis, and so that sort of turned me off from the very beginning. But I don't know. The more people talk about it, I did kind of warm up to it a little bit. I'm not feeling as negative, but that was my initial gut reaction, was just like, oh, that was dumb.
So, I like the idea of having the robots responding to emotions. I feel like it would have worked better if they hadn't called it emojis, because I mean, they weren't the same. They weren't exactly the same as emojis. It was basically little emotion response things, and that idea was kind of cool, but
it was even yellow. It was a circle. Like it would look like an emoji for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I just think that at least that part could have been done better.
Yeah.
They could have done something different with it.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, it just seems like one of those things that's like, ooh, we got to make the young kids like it. Let's put emojis on it. So I feel like a lot of things that way. Maybe I'm just sour because of that horrible Emoji Movie trailer I've seen a million times.
No. that thing looks so dumb.
Oh, it looks so bad, and I just know it's gonna make a lot of money, and I'm gonna be so depressed. So anyway, so at the very beginning, the doctor asks Bill where she wants to go, and I was curious if that is a common thing in Doctor Who, that the companions are given such an opportunity like that, or if he usually directs where they go, kind of thing.
A lot of times it's more so the TARDIS that chooses, because the TARDIS is sort of alive in its own way.
Okay.
So most of the time the TARDIS takes them somewhere that it feels the Doctor needs to be. But the Doctor has given his companions an option to choose a place before, especially like right at the beginning of their journey with him. He'll ask them where they want to go, what they want to see. And sometimes he'll ask them that more than once, and they'll have more than one adventure that was based on something they chose. Most of the time I think it's usually just like once, and then the rest of the time it's They just land somewhere and go and see what happens.
Okay. Do they usually go in the future, or do they just as equally go into the past? Do you see that?
The It's probably more the future. In the old series of Doctor Who, they went into the past a lot more because when Doctor Who was first imagined, the time travel aspect was thought up of as a way to teach children about history.
Oh, okay.
So that was the main point of it being a time travel show back then. So there was a lot more historical episodes at the beginning of the show. Nowadays, they don't do it all the time. They'll do like maybe between 1 and 3 a season, I suppose. And it just depends on whether they get a good enough idea,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So most of the time, they're I don't want to say they go to the future because it's not always the future, but they go to a lot of different planets or places where the people have gone. So
Mm-hmm.
it's usually a good mix of the three: past, future, and other planets.
Okay.
But probably past is the least used one.
Okay. Yeah, because when you go into the past, it just becomes so difficult because it's so easy to affect what happens in the future. That's the whole paradigm of time travel. That's what makes it hard. So you go back to where you were, but what you did in the
Hmm.
past has changed where you were.
Yeah, yeah. He always says that he knows what he's doing and he can affect things without affecting it too badly. But sometimes you wonder exactly how much he's being truthful about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a big line about himself, but he's not always right. So
Okay. So she says that she wants to go into the future to see if they're happy there. What did you think of this?
I feel like that's a thing that she would say. Like it's a good sign of her character, because
Mm-hmm.
she seems like a positive person. So I like the idea of like the world right now is in turmoil, I guess. I don't know. Lots of bad things happen in the news all the time. So I can see someone who's more positive being affected by that and just wanting reassurance that the world's going to turn out okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a good line for her.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Just sort of uh, see if we get through all this madness, I guess. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, and it's a little sort of in retrospect, it's a little on the nose because she wants to find out if they're happy and where do they go is to a land of
Yeah.
emojis, but it kind of works as a narrative. I can see it. And it does sort of make her a likable character because she's obviously pretty optimistic.
Hmm.
I don't think you would. I don't think you would make that request unless you were pretty sure that it would be happy. Like you wouldn't want if you were pretty sure it would be sad. I don't think you'd want to go.
Yeah.
Probably. So okay. So in this episode, Nardal is left guarding the vault. And the doctor says he's made a promise, or Nardale tells him that you have made a promise not to stray off world and leave the vault unless in an emergency. And so, first of all, who do you think he made this promise to? And what do you think of this whole sort of situation?
I have no idea who he made the promise to.
You don't have any
I'm wondering if
speculation.
maybe it's another Time Lord. I don't know. I kind of doubt that because he doesn't have too many interactions with the other Time Lords, but who knows?
It'd have to be somebody pretty important for him to stay put for 50 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
So some people were saying online that I can't remember her name, but the that it might have something to do with the old River Song. I think
Oh,
of the name.
I didn't think of that, but I like the idea. I'm not sure. I don't know if I don't know if they're gonna. bring her back or not, because the way I heard it was the last time he saw her was probably going to be the last time she was on the show, just because once you've seen her whole storyline, you know where it ends. So I don't know. She's also a time traveler, so really it could be her just at a different point in her life. So I don't really know. I
Yeah.
don't have enough information to make too more than wild speculation.
Well, that's what the internet is all about, right?
Yeah.
Wild speculation. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that through uh, these clues that we're getting for what the heck Nardal is doing and what this promise is. So,
Hmm. As far as
do you like that as a sort of a thread through the season?
yes, I think that's a great continuation thing for this season. They always have, like I said last time, they always have a different one each season, and I really like the idea of there being a mystery hidden in vault, trying to find out what it is. I'm sure it'll come to a head towards the end of the season, and it'll probably. I hope it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Does this seem like a foreign kind of concept as far as him making a promise like this?
No, it seems like something he would do.
Hmm. Okay, cool. All right. So my next question is: we get to this world, and there are these emoji robots, and they give they give the doctor and Bill these buttons, kind of, and the buttons show how they feel, and they kill basically anything that isn't happy. And were you surprised that they like it's pretty violent when you really think about it? I mean, these people are turned into fertilizer by the robots. We actually see people die, see people turned into robots. To fertilizer. Um, Someone who's not, were you surprised that they went there, or is that par for the course
Mm,
with Doctor Who?
that's par for the course. It's the way they did it was not graphic. It's not like violent or not like gory or anything.
Yeah.
The Doctor Who, if they do something that's, I don't want to say super violent. I don't know. They never push it too far as to where if a kid around like 8 was watching, they would be like scarred for life, because a lot of kids do watch the show.
No.
So they're always aware of that. So they never push it into like gore.
Yeah. No, it wasn't gory, but it was pretty scary, I think.
They
It was pretty.
they they
Uh, yeah.
they're not afraid to do scary, because because a lot of kids say that they like Doctor Who to be scary. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people back when in the old show, there was a phrase that I've seen. They would be children watching from behind the sofa, because
Mm.
they were scared and they went to hide behind the sofa, but they were still interested. They still really liked the show, so they would peek out and watch. And then if something got too scary, they'd hide behind the sofa again. So it's
Yeah.
par for the course.
Okay, cool. So what do you think of these robots? Did you think that they were cool, their design, their what they did? Uh just their what did you think of the robots?
I don't know. I the robots, the ones that walked around. I guess I wasn't a huge fan of those. I mean, they were. It was an okay design.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The ones I like the idea of the nanobots, because I've always thought nanobots were cool, but the way they behaved, it just seemed too similar to things that Doctor Who has done in the past. Even the way they killed people, it was really close to a different monster, one that
Okay.
wasn't a rodent. It was like tiny microscopic creatures that were in like a cloud, but they were like hidden shadows. So, and the when they did it in those episodes the first time, those were two of like top episodes. They were so good,
Mm.
like really scary, really exciting, just great episodes. So this, it just felt like they were trying to recreate that maybe, and it didn't come off the greatest.
Hmm.
Just kind of a copy.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't exactly the same. There's tons of differences, but that just stuck out to me as too similar.
I mean, I like this idea of like I like a lot of this stuff in theory. Like the idea of sort of robots analyzing your emotions and not allowing you to feel all these emotions. Like that's interesting, but for some reason, I just felt like it wasn't executed that well. I
Yeah,
mean, it was executed in the sense of the sets and everything like that, but just I don't know. I just felt like again, I just came out with this thing was like that was really dumb. And I don't know why, because the ideas on the surface, if you just explained it to me, I was like, oh, that sounds like cool sci-fi. But I guess it's just the emoji thing. That really maybe was a barrier for me
mhm.
in that because yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but this idea that oh, you've got to smile and you've got to try to trick them because if these buttons can really tell whether you're happy or sad if you're smiling, it shouldn't make any difference.
That is true. That is kind of a big plot hole. The smiling thing, I could see it tricking the robots themselves, but the little buttons are stuck to their backs. So the buttons
Right.
on their backs can't see their face, so they're analyzing body chemistry, not facial expressions.
Yeah, and I guess they can't just like take that button off, or they'll get hurt. Maybe they'll get killed or something.
Yeah, I'm
But
not really sure.
yeah. Anyway, um, so the doctor creates this plan that he's gonna blow up all, like blow everything up, because uh, because then that's an easy way of getting rid of all these robots, right?
Mhm.
So uh, then they discover that there's all of these humans that are like in hypersleep in these pods. And so this obviously changes this obviously changes his plans. And he's not going to kill all these people. What did you think of that?
It I thought that's pretty on par for his character. He wants to help in the best way possible and minimize loss of life.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously these robots aren't technically alive, so he doesn't have a problem destroying them. But since all these people are there that he didn't know were in the middle of this city, he can't really blow up the city because he's blowing it up to save humanity, but he's not going to be saving humanity if he blows it up and they were in there the whole time.
Right.
So it was another instance of the doctor getting ahead of himself, thinking he's right and being wrong, because the doctor's not always right. He's very often right, but sometimes he just gets a little carried away and doesn't think through every aspect of a situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought it did help sort of build tension pretty well because he's just about to
Mm-hmm.
do this and oh my gosh there's these people and everything like that, what is he going to do next, kind of a thing. And so that was interesting. And so he decides he resets the emoji bots, and then the people are told that they basically have to like learn to live with these emoji bots. What did you think of that? Was that a good ending for you?
Kind of. It seemed slightly like a cop out. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I guess I like it, but I feel like there should have been a way to maybe shut them down or completely rewrite the programming, because if the programming was corrupted once that and made the robots go rogue, what's to stop the programming from being corrupted again?
Right.
I don't know. It just
Yeah, I mean, and it seems the like it's part of the design of the robots to like have that flaw, really. I mean, I feel like it would happen again very quickly.
Hmm. Yeah,
very
because
quickly.
if it happened once, there's no way to completely be sure that it'll never happen again, especially if he reset them to how they were first programmed. Like the glitch got in there somehow. The
Yeah.
Because the robots are basically, they're built to learn, and they learned incorrectly that unhappiness needed to be gotten rid of. So what's to stop them from learning that again?
Yeah.
I just felt like there needed to be a better explanation of him rewriting the software somehow.
Yeah, and I mean the idea that sort of it was almost like they were saying these robots are the same almost as the people, and that these people have to just like learn to get along with these. It's almost like it was like another tribe or something, when
Yeah,
obviously that's not the case.
I can I can see him thinking that way, but like if they had, because a lot of science fiction has robots sort of, their programming evolving into like gaining intelligence themselves, but that really wasn't the case with these robots. They weren't they weren't thinking imaginatively, I guess. They were going based on their flawed programming. So I didn't I don't know that this should be a case where they should be told that they need to coexist, because I didn't see that these robots as another species, at least not
Yeah,
at this point.
me either. Me either. Because I don't know, they were just so like one-dimensional robots. It's not even like
Mhm.
Wally or somebody like that who exhibits all these different emotions and feelings and is much more of sort of a self-directed
Yeah.
independent kind of character. That these are pretty like do 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 kind of robots.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was kind of an underwhelming ending, I thought. And maybe that was part of the reason why I just kind of didn't love it.
Mhm.
um they kind of didn't have that big good sort of aftertaste, I guess.
Yeah.
And just the idea that like, oh, we have to think like they think differently, and so you have to learn to think like they think.
Well, they think differently because there was a flaw in the program. They need to
Exactly.
reprogram.
Like it's not like Shangri-La and all that stuff, like no. But anyway, oh well. Yeah, like I know that I guess this episode wasn't in fact written by Stephen Moffat or something. I don't know.
No, he
But
doesn't write all of them. He usually writes the first one, the last one, and maybe one or two in the middle.
this one I felt like screamed of his writing. So
Well, I'm
I'm
sure he had an influence on it because he's
yeah,
the hero.
because he loves doing these twists and surprises. And I don't know, just to me, the more that I've seen of Stephen Moffat, the more I feel like he's like M. Night Shyamalan. Like his a lot of his ideas are sort of good in concept, but in execution they end up feeling kind of ham-fisted and annoying.
A lot of people say that all of his best episodes were from before he became the showrunner. Because before he was the showrunner, he would have one story, sometimes it would be a two-parter in each season, and they were almost always the best episodes of the season. Like amazing episodes with fantastic twists and great writing. So everybody was thrilled when he became the showrunner. And then it just, I don't know, maybe he kind of petered out because he had too many things to work on. So I'm hoping
Mm-hmm.
that since this is his last season as showrunner, if he does write any more, he'll get back to the standards that he set for himself in the first four seasons.
Yeah, yeah, I guess the writer of this is Frank Cottrell Boyce is the guy's name. But it did feel very Stephen Moffat-y to me. And oh well, what are you gonna do? And
Yeah.
evidently, this guy had written another one called "In the Forest of the Night." He'd written one.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one was
So,
pretty good. I think that was a two-parter. That was either the first or second half of a two-parter, I think.
okay. All right. So, let's see here. I guess let's just talk a little bit about some of the nuts and bolts. So the production design, I think they filmed it in a modern art museum in Spain.
Yeah, I saw a little featurette on that.
Yeah, what did you think of the production design, the design? We talked a little bit about the design of the robots, but other stuff. What do you think?
Production design, setting, sets, everything was amazing. The episode was beautifully shot.
Yeah,
It was so cool to have this amazing futuristic building in the middle of a wheat field. It's just so unique.
yeah,
And I loved the little trails that they left through the field as they left the TARDIS to going toward the city. It kind of reminded me of a scene in the Lost World Jurassic Park with the raptors going through the tall grass, but it was much less scary, of course. But I just loved the design. It was such a cool episode. The the design of it was, I was sure I was going to love the episode because of the design, but design isn't everything
sure.
as we can tell. But from a purely visual standpoint, it was really good. I
Yeah.
love the look.
It reminded me a little bit of Tomorrowland, when she's approaching Tomorrowland with all
Yeah,
the grain
yeah.
and everything kind of looked somewhat similar to that to me. But yeah, it did look really good for sure. They did a good job with that and using that museum. And one other thing someone pointed out is that you have Bill as a companion commenting on the TARDIS. Like why is the chair way over here when the panels or whatever are over there? Like why is it designed this way? Like and that was unusual for Doctor Who to have that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the companions don't really question him that
Mm-hmm.
much. They're just too blown away by how amazing it is.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill is kind of different in that she realizes how amazing it is, but she can also see that
Excuse me.
there's things that need to be looked at closer,
Yeah.
asking some more questions that the other companions probably didn't really think about.
Yeah. So what did you think of the acting between Peter Capaldi, the uh, what's the actress? Pearl? I don't know her last name.
Mackie.
As Bill and Mackie, and some of the other humans or whatever in the episode.
I thought they got pretty decent actors. Um, some of the extras maybe weren't quite as good as Pearl and Peter,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't. None of them were bad or anything. The one, the one actress that I wished at the very beginning, you wouldn't have gotten this, but at the very beginning, the person who was the little boy's mother, she was there before. She was one of the, what do they call them? The people who were setting up.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember what they were called.
the
Anyways,
settlers or original settlers or whatever they called them. Yeah.
and she was one. She was the one who was trying to get her friend to smile.
Oh right.
The actress who plays her name is Mina Anwar. She was actually a main character in the Doctor Who spin-off, the Sarah Jane Adventures, a few years back, before the actress who played Sarah Jane died. But she was on
Mm.
there for like 4 seasons.
Hmm.
So I I wish she wouldn't have died so quickly because I really liked seeing her again. It was
Yeah.
it was just kind of a fun callback. I don't know if she got the part because of her connection to the universe of Doctor Who or not, but I really liked seeing her again.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. So, uh, what do you think do you think there's an allegory in this episode? Do you think that the episode is trying to say something about emotions or emojis or modern culture or anything like that? Or do you think it's just fun sci-fi?
I mean, it probably is trying to say something, but I feel like it maybe got lost in translation.
Because
I
I
don't
do
know.
think all good sci-fi is says something. I think
Yeah,
that
it does.
that's a hallmark of the genre.
Hmm.
And you know, I do think the ending they were kind of trying to say something that like I that we all have to like look at we have to learn to like love each other and accept people's different viewpoints or whatever. And but
Hmm.
also I think it was trying to say that like that you can't like tell somebody to be happy all the time, and you can't tell someone to be sad, or to not be sad when they're grieving, when they're feeling like they need to be able to express all those emotions. And that's what the robots couldn't understand. But I
Hmm.
don't think it was that effectively shown. It's not
Yeah.
like an Inside Out or something, but I think they maybe were trying for
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. You're the first one where you like we need to learn to live together. That I got that they were going for that. I didn't really
Hmm.
get that about the emotions, but I like that. I like that look. But I think it just kind of maybe got lost in the shuffle. I don't think it if that
Yeah.
was their intention, I don't think it was communicated quite clear enough.
Okay. So if you were gonna give this episode a 1 to 10, what rating would you give it?
Probably a 5.
Yeah. It has a 7.7 on IMDb. Uh, but I would give it a 4, which seems kind of harsh, but like I figure 5 is right in the middle,
Yeah,
and I was a little bit lower than that, so 4. It gets a 4 for me. And I would give we didn't really do grades on the first one, but I would give, because I did think that water lady was pretty cool, and I liked. I don't know. I just liked the first one because I don't have that much experience, but I would give that one more like a 7.5, maybe. So
I'd probably do an 8 on the
an
first one.
8.
Yeah.
Maybe an 8. And the I know a lot of people hated that Christmas episode since it was my first I'd ever seen. I liked it. I thought it was fun, and so I'd
I
probably give
like
that
it
one an
too.
8 too.
It took me a little bit to warm up to the first one or to it at first, the with the superhero and everything, because a
Yeah,
lot of the dialogue was really cheesy and really on the nose. But after a while, I
yeah,
realized it was written that way on purpose because it was supposed to be spoofing the old, really cheesy, really on the nose dialogue of old comic books. So it was
yeah,
written that way on purpose, and I don't think that was communicated quite clear enough. But once I realized that, I liked it a lot better.
yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I'll probably readdress that once I've seen more. Like since it was my introduction,
Yeah.
it was a pretty good one I think to watch for your introduction because it had so many things I could relate to.
Hmm.
And so there you go. But so this one, I go with a 4. But it certainly, it wasn't horrible. And so anyway, that's basically all I have to say. Did you have any other questions or anything else you want to talk about with the episode?
I don't think so. I think we've covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I didn't get to show you my shirt. I wore a different Doctor Who shirt today.
Ah,
This one is a Disney Doctor Who mashup. It's Tinkerbell
oh,
trapped in the light on the TARDIS instead of
nice.
the instead of the Captain Hook's lantern.
I love it.
I have a bunch that kind of mash up Disney and Doctor Who.
That's
I'm gonna,
cool.
I'm gonna try and wear a different Doctor Who shirt every time we do one of these.
Nice. I only have the one, but I need to get more. This one I'm wearing Iron Man shirt.
Yeah.
So cool. That's a lot of fun. All right. So where can people find you?
Um, on Twitter, John J North, JONJ North. That's my last name, but spelled like the direction. And that's about it for now. Like I said, I'll make a YouTube channel, but not yet.
No problem. So that'll be great. I have the link down in the description section. You can check out him on Jonathan on Twitter. And thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And put in the comment section if you guys have anything to say about this episode. And thanks so much.
Thank you.